Danil Pivovarov, director at Autostat in Moscow, will be talking us through the Russian automotive aftermarket. Now, Russia quite often can be seen as part of Europe, yet at the same time it's part of Europe but can act very independently and very differently from the rest of Europe. So handing it over to Danil Pivovarov from director at Autostat.
Hello everyone. On behalf of Autostat, let me wish you every success in the upcoming 2021. Be healthy and let this year be better than last one. Okay, let's start our presentation and let's check what happened in 2020 and how the situation of last year, pandemic, influenced the market in Russia. So let's see how much do Russians spend on cars and not only cars. So according to our estimation, last year Russians spent about 27 billion euro for new passenger cars, 31 billion euro for used passenger cars, about 7 billion euro for car services, 16 billion euro for spare parts for passenger cars, about 5 billion for spare parts of trucks, 35 billion euro for fuel, 2.5 billion euro for obligatory insurance, and about 2 billion euro for motor insurance. So this is our market dynamics for new and used passenger cars, starting from 2010 and until the 10th month of last year. We can clearly see that Russian automotive market has not still recovered from the crisis, let's call it crisis, of 2015, where our local currency suffered very deep drop against euro, against dollar, and other world currencies. So we see that last year, 2020, will be approximately the same in terms of volume compared with the 2019, and it's quite surprisingly because at the beginning of last year, when the pandemic started in March and April, we forecasted that the new and used car market will be dropped down for at least 20 or even more %. And the lockdown lasted only, the full lockdown lasted only 2 months from April to June. And then Russian people started to compensate this lockdown by their purchases for new cars and also used cars in June and July. And also the behavior of our local currency last year also influenced the market, because the Russian currency also suffered some drop down for 16% against world currencies, and buyers wanted to hedge their financial means in terms of buying cars now, and not to postpone the purchase until the next year when the prices will be too high. This is the used car market structure by segments last year, and we can see that the mass segment represents about 90% of the total used car market, while premium segments has 10%. And the behavior of both segments were so last year that mass segment almost maintained its volume, while the premium segment grew by 3.6%. And this is also due by the fact that the ownership period in premium segment is lower, and buyers, customers in premium segment are more active in terms of changing their cars, and also are more active in terms of trading in their cars. That's why the premium segment slightly grew last year. And in terms of volumes of different brands, Lada still maintains the first place by giving more than 1 million units registered last year. then succeeded by Toyota, Nissan, Hyundai, Kia, Chevrolet, and other brands. On this chart, we show the dynamics of prices for new cars and dynamics of currency rates. Starting from 2014, when the market was quite stable and in a healthy situation, and then by drop down of our currency in 2015, we can see that for 6 years, Russian currency has weakened for 100% against euro, against dollar, and for about 90% against euro, while the prices for new cars grew for 65% for this period of time, which means that the potential for growing prices is not yet exhausted, and we expect that in this year OEMs manufacturers will go on to compensate their losses and to increase prices for new cars. This is the how the passenger car park in Russia looks like. Some key figures. We have 44.5 million units in operation in the market, and the average car park age is quite high. It's about 14 years. The park older than 15 years represents 35%. The foreign brands share is quite high, 63%. This is despite of the fact that Lada still maintains the number one. The share of SUVs is about 24%, 1/4 of the market. The share of diesel engines is very, very low. It's 5% only. And the share of Euro 4 and higher is about 50% of the total market. About the top 10 brands in the car park, Lada is number one, and then succeeded again by Toyota, Hyundai, Nissan, Kia, and so on. And some information about the regions. Moscow is number one in terms of car park, then succeeded by Moscow region, then Krasnodar in the south of Russia, then St. Petersburg, Yekaterinburg region, Rostov region, also in the south, Tatarstan, Bashkortostan, Chelyabinsk, and Samara region. And this is how the total car park looks like, and how dynamics of the park behaves. We can see that starting from 2012 to 2020, the total car park grew from 44 to 53 million units. All the cars, passenger cars, light commercial vehicles, and trucks. And we expect that in 2021 the park will achieve 54 million units. But at the same time, we expect that the dynamic of the park will slow down in upcoming years from usual 4 to 5% every year to 2% per year. So about sales and service market infrastructure. In Russia, there are 79,000 points of sales and service, and about 3,400 franchise dealers. And we can see, looking at our map of major 6 districts of Russian Federation, that in some of districts, number of service points has grown last year versus 2019, while the number of franchise dealers or official dealers, like we call it, has decreased. This is the service and repair market capacity dynamics in Russia, and if we look at figures and in rubles and in euro, we can see that their market capacity in euro is almost the same as last year, and at the same time the capacity in rubles has shown quite good growth last year, but it is also mainly explained by the difference over our currency rates in 2020 and 2019. If we look at the split between franchise dealers, non-franchise service stations, and the, as we call it, market potential or garages, we can see that the main channels such as franchise dealers and non-franchise service stations have shown quite good growth in rubles, while the garages are almost on the same level as last year. And what interesting happens also in those segments, we see that non-franchised service stations, they try to force their customers to buy spare parts at service stations rather than bringing spare parts bought elsewhere in spare parts shops and so on. And they, if the customer comes, for example, with his own spare parts, they try to increase prices for him for service hours, for labor hours. And if the customer buys spare parts at the service station, they offer the customer discount for labor hours. Which means that non-franchise service stations, they try to play a more significant role in the spare parts market in general. And some few words about the spare parts market structure. Here we can see the split between various groups of components. And for just an example, tires represent about 13% of the total spare parts sales, suspension 10%, oil 7.6%, braking system 5%, filters 5%, steering system 4%, transmission 4%, and other components more than 40%. These figures are taken for 2019. Because we still don't have complete figures for 2020. And on the left side of the chart, also the comparison of dynamics in both in rubles and euro for spare parts turnover. We can see that in euro it's still the same as in 2019, and in rubles it has shown significant growth due to currency rate. So, and some key learnings from 2020. What was interesting? The interesting was that nobody expected in the beginning of the pandemic that consumption of various services in Russia will drop down, but not drop down dramatically. For example, we can see that the newcomer market is almost on the same level as in 2019. Why is it so? Because the total lockdown lasted only 2 months, from April and May last year, and afterwards, customers, people, they started to consume almost on the same level as usual. And also the intensivity of car usage has significantly increased because internal local tourism has started to develop quite heavily. Why is it so? Because the borders are closed, and a lot of Russian people who used to travel abroad for summer vacations and to spend their holidays in Spain, in Turkey, in Greece, they switched to internal tourism, and they started to use their cars to travel with the families to Russian south locations. Which means that not everything is so bad as it had been expected in the beginning. And what we expect from the new year, the Russian vaccine is already in, let's call it, in operation, in usage. And not everyone, but some group of population have now the right to be vaccinated, especially those people who work in various service areas and shops, outlets, and so on. And what we expect from 2021, we expect that until the end of first half of 2021, the significant part of Russian population will be vaccinated, and we think that the consumption level for both spare parts and for services will be at least at the same level of last year. Of course, it's quite difficult to predict and to forecast what will happen in the upcoming months, whether the new stems of COVID will come or not, how it will be, how it will influence the lockdowns and so on. But our forecasts are quite optimistic for this year. Thank you very much for your attention, and me and Sergey Udalov, Executive Director of Autostat, we both wish you again every success in your business this year, and be healthy. Thank you.